Crime is not Democrat or Republican. Making the streets safe is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is one of those issues I hope this passage of this bill will be taken out of the gridlock category and moved into an emerging consensus. And the consensus is as follows, and I will cease when I finish this.
This emerging consensus. Let's hear how he feels about crime and what he wants to do and who he thinks the criminals are. Let's hear.
Statement. The consensus is A, we must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask, what made them do this? They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. The Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee, the Democratic president of the United States of America, the Democratic attorney general, the Republican leader of this effort, Senator Hatch, the Republican senator from Texas. We all agree on that. Now, we can find some fringe folks in the study groups on the right wing and left wing, libertarians and left wingers in my party who say, no, that's not what we should do. But politically, that consensus has been arrived at. I acknowledge there was not that consensus in the 60s. There is today. There's a second thing that we all have agreed upon, and that is unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a...
Wait a minute. I wonder who's these young people that he's referring to. I wonder if these young people happen to be the poor kids and suburban and urban kids. He wants to target them, yet he speaks as if he understands that they have some underlying issues that might need to be addressed in order to even prevent the issue of them being a problem. He sounds like he knows that, but that's not what's important, because he's going on to say that's not what the intentions is. We're not going to address that. We're just going to enforce. Let's go back a little bit.
They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created.
So we have a man who's saying that he can predict the future based on what he's seeing. And he understands that it's because of lack of opportunities and things of the like that the situation is the way it is. And it hasn't even gotten worse yet at the point that he's speaking. He's saying that 15 years into the future, that it will be worse than ever. So instead of addressing the underlying issue and trying to see if maybe we can undo that, instead, we're not going to try to stop it. We're not going to try to undo it. We're actually going to prepare for it by enforcing these laws and these rules right now, early, so that these people don't have a chance, in their opinion, to do these things, when in turn what they're doing is not giving them a chance to even correct mistakes if they make it. They're not even giving them a chance to actually have a decent life, because they understand that it's the opportunities and the certain circumstances that's creating this behavior, and they will not
Again, it
address
does
it.
not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them.
So he understands that they created them. They created the behavior. They had a hand to play in why the people are that he was referring to, the people he's referring to, the young people. He's taking the credit. He's acknowledging that they had a part to play in it. Yet he will not uh, do the necessary things that he needs to do to correct it. Instead, he's going to enforce upon these people as if he doesn't understand why they're behaving like that, and they just need to be basically they just need authority. That's what it is. And he's saying it clearly that he understands why it's like that.
They are beyond the pale. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
Who is those people that you have created, you and the we you speak of? You guys have created them. And to protect your own self, you're willing to expose of these people or dispose of these people.
Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth.
So he's getting to the point to where take them off the streets, out of society, and we're not even thinking about rehabilitation. I wonder why. I wonder how much money, how much meetings were being had because of this plan, because of this bill. I wonder how much people expected the numbers of these prisons to go up, so that because they had private interest and money invested in these things. I wonder why he was so adamant about it. I wonder if a lot of them knew that this would happen and they would make a lot of money off of it. I wonder. I just wonder.
You're looking at the fellow who was one of the primary architects of the Sentencing Commission. You know what the basic premise of the Sentencing Commission is? I know the presiding officer knows. It was the first time in 80 years we rejected the notion that the condition of sentencing must be related to how long it would take to rehabilitate. I'm the guy that said rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. I remember when it was going on, when I was making these arguments in the late 70s, they used to call Biden's same time for the same crime.
No rehabilitation. Well, honestly, I've heard enough. This is just a small piece. I'm sure you guys can find this information if y'all really look for it. But this guy here is now our president. And he is the best spokesman for the poor and the urban people and the black people. That's funny. I find that ironic.